Welcome to Concerned Citizens. My name is Gerald W. Phillips. I'm an Avon Lake resident for 19 years. I'm also an attorney and a certified public accountant.
And welcome again, Bill Zimmerman, lifelong resident here in Avon Lake. We're trying to figure out what's going on in our city so that we have a better understanding as citizens of the people that we've elected and what they do for us.
Well, the topic today generally is about the Avon Lake power plant, but more specifically, as far as that project, the role of a committee named the Brownfield Committee. Mr. Zimmerman, do you remember when we first became aware of this committee?
Well, we had asked for public records requests from the city in regards to the CIC, which is the Community Improvement Corporation, back in 2021. I believe the actual Brownfield Committee, which is a subcommittee, was founded in December of 2021.
Well, I recall, Bill, that we were at a council meeting and a few individuals appeared before City Council. A gentleman by the name of Jeff Broush, who's a member of the Brownfield Committee, and Steve Luca, who's also a member of the Brownfield Committee. And they were indicated when they introduced themselves that they've been meeting for 3 years, and they had meetings where supposedly they got input from the residents concerning what the residents wanted to see where the power plant project is, as far as what the community wanted. And I know I was quite surprised that this committee existed, and that prompted me to make some inquiries. Do you recall that council meeting?
I do, and I do recall that when we did receive documentation and stuff, they provided us with photos of that meeting where they were talking, and supposedly an open meeting for the public to be there and everything else, yet the photos only showed the 10 or 11 people who were part of the committee, and then we were starting on our way to find out more information.
Yeah, I know from my perspective, since the power plant project is very important, and they're talking about a TIF where basically they're going to potentially take $60 million of tax revenues, which would go to the schools, and divert it to this developer. That, that's a very important issue. And so I know I wanted to find out more about what this Brownfield Committee is about, what it does, who its members are, and when were they meeting, because they said they've been meeting over 3 years.
Right, and I believe that they have not provided us, even to this date, any information in regards to their meetings that were supposed to be open to the public and stuff. We have minutes from the CIC meetings that somehow correlate with the Brownfield Committee. As an example, I know that you want to talk about the Steve Luca letter that we found to be very informational in regards to what they were trying to achieve. Now, there have been conversations with the ex-mayor and several other councilmen, Zach Arnold, that we're talking about Shara wants to be a part of this. And Ted Esborn, in one of our findings, responded that it would only if it can improve the bottom line. Well, Andrew Perry then spoke up and said that the city can unlock $10 million to Shara's bottom line. And I find all of that to be very enlightening, because all we're talking now is about how much money could we get these people so that they would help us try to remediate the land that's up there.
Well, as an attorney, I was trying to understand how the Brownfield Committee fits into the picture. So the City of Avon Lake has the ability under a statutory provision to create a related corporation, which is the Avon Lake Community Improvement Corporation, And that entity, which we refer to as the CIC, is the sole agent and instrumentality for the City of Avon Lake for their economic development, in particular, specifically for the economic development of the former Avon Lake power plant. So that led us to, okay, we have this statutory corporation, and we were able to get, information, concerning the particular members of the CIC. Its composition is 4 citizens: Janice Lapina, Steve Luca, Ross Vinson, and Ron Kovach. Then there's 3 city officials, which is Ted Asborn as the Avon Lake Community Development Director. He's a member. And the mayor is. So former Mayor Greg Zilka was intricately involved in this CIC and the Brownfield Committee until the new mayor, Mark Spetzel, took over. And then council has a member on it, and the council member on that is Zach Arnold. So that led me to inquire, okay, we got the CIC members. How did this Brownfield committee, how did they get involved? So we were able, through public records, get information from the CIC meeting minutes. And on December 10th, 2021, by a 6-0 vote, Steve Luca proposed the creation of this committee. Now, Steve Luca also was a member of the CIC. So they set up the Brownfield committee as a subcommittee of the CIC. That's how we found out about the organizational structure of where did this Brownfield come, how did it come about, how legally it was established. And then from there, that confirmed, well, this did exist. And since they indicated they'd been meeting for 3 years, wasn't the next question we talked about, Bill, was, well, when were these meetings? And do they have public records of the meeting minutes?
That's correct, because every committee that the city has to have open public meetings so that all of us as citizens can attend. We're supposed to be given advance notice. There's rules in regards to these things, 24 hours, 48 hours, things of that nature. It gives us the opportunity to attend so that we can understand what's really going on in the city. These committees are the places where all of the ideas come from that eventually turn into either potential laws or ideas or things that we're trying to do to make our city a better place to live. Now, I just don't understand how when they voted 6-0 and formed this committee, and yet there's not a single time in the last 2.5 years that they can show us that they had a meeting, they took minutes, and provided them to the citizens of the city.
Well, as I was indicating, we did get through a public records when we asked about the CIC. We also got actually who the members of the Brownfield Committee are. Steve Luca is the chairperson. He also serves as vice president of the CIC. Todd Davis, who's outside counsel, is a member. Dan Bucci, Andrew Perry, and Jeff Broush, who we mentioned, who spoke at a council meeting indicating that they've been meeting for 3 years. So now we know who the committee members are. But the big question, they've been meeting for 3 years. When did those meetings occur? I had no record of any notice being done, the public being notified, it being listed on the city website saying that this Brownfield committee was having a meeting. It's only subsequently in the last 6 months after Mr. Broush and Mr. Luca got up and pontificated that, this committee has been meeting for 3 years, had been working on the Avon Lake power plant, been working with ALERG. Now, ALERG is an acronym for the entity that currently owns the power plant land, and it's the Avon Lake Environmental Redevelopment Group, LLC. They're owned by Shara So ALERG is a 100% owned subsidiary of Shara, which does a lot of these renovations of industrial sites.
You know, we had an opportunity when the CIC started giving us back minutes and we were able to go through it, that it shows in several places that there was a public records policy with these Brownfield. And Mr. Luca had made a motion that the Avon Lake CIC adopt public record policies for the City of Avon Lake, and it was passed 5-0. The former mayor had talked about record retentions. So they were trying to set it all up to be done properly. But somewhere along the way, the Brownfield Committee was never included in that, so that these documents would be available and the meetings would be published so that we could attend and so on and so forth.